Jazz is more than just music. It's a vibrant tapestry of cultural expression that has woven itself into the fabric of American society and beyond. For over a century, this genre has continuously reinvented itself, pushing boundaries and breaking barriers. But here's the fascinating question. How did a musical form born from the intersection of African rhythms, European harmonies, and American innovation become one of the world's most influential art forms? Our story begins in the late 19th century, when something extraordinary was happening in the saloons, dance halls, and parlors of America. Ragtime was born, a revolutionary sound that would change music forever. Ragtime wasn't just music, it was rebellion dressed in melody. Its syncopated rhythms, where the emphasis fell on the offbeats, created a musical tension that was both sophisticated and irresistibly danceable. This was the sound of African American communities asserting their musical identity in a rapidly changing world. Scott Joplin, the king of ragtime, didn't just compose melodies, he composed revolution. His Maple Leaf Rag sold over 1 million copies, proving that African American musical innovation could capture the nation's imagination. But it was Ferdinand Jelly Roll Morton who truly understood ragtime's potential. He saw how those syncopated rhythms could be stretched, bent, and improvised upon. Morton was laying the foundation for something bigger, something that would soon explode from the streets of New Orleans. New Orleans in the early 1900s was a cultural melting pot unlike anywhere else in America. Here, in this vibrant, chaotic city, ragtime met the blues, spirituals collided with military marches, and something entirely new was born. Jazz took ragtime's rhythmic innovations and set them free. Where ragtime was composed and structured, jazz was spontaneous and alive. Musicians weren't just playing notes, they were having conversations, each instrument responding to the others in real time. The 1920s exploded with jazz fever. This wasn't just music anymore. It was the soundtrack of a generation breaking free from Victorian constraints. Jazz clubs became temples of innovation, where musicians pushed the boundaries of what music could be. But jazz's true genius lay in its democracy. It gave voice to the voiceless, created stars from the margins of society, and proved that artistic brilliance could emerge from any background. By the 1940s, jazz had become America's music. But a new generation of musicians wasn't content with entertaining dancers in big band halls. They wanted to challenge listeners, to push jazz into uncharted territory. Enter bebop, jazz's intellectual revolution. Charlie Parker, nicknamed Bird, didn't just play faster, he thought faster. His improvisations were like mathematical equations solved in real time. Each note precisely placed, yet spontaneously conceived. Dizzy Gillespie brought bebop's complex harmonies to life with his bent trumpet and infectious energy. Together with Parker, he transformed jazz from entertainment into high art. John Coltrane took bebop's innovations even further, using his saxophone as a tool for spiritual exploration. His performances weren't just musical. They were transcendent experiences that pushed the boundaries of what jazz could express. Bebop changed everything. It demanded that listeners engage actively with the music, that they appreciate its complexity and sophistication. Jazz had evolved from dance music into America's classical music. The 1960s brought social upheaval, and jazz responded by looking beyond America's borders. Musicians began incorporating rhythms from Latin America, Africa, and Asia, creating a truly global musical language. Miles Davis, jazz's eternal innovator, led this charge into fusion. His album Bitches Brew shocked purists but opened infinite possibilities. Davis proved that jazz could absorb any influence and emerge stronger. Herbie Hancock embraced technology, using synthesizers and electronic effects to create soundscapes that were both futuristic and deeply rooted in jazz tradition. His Headhunters album brought jazz into the age of funk and hip-hop. Chick Corea explored jazz's connections to Latin music, creating fusions that honored both traditions while creating something entirely new. His work with Return to Forever showed how jazz could be both intellectually challenging and rhythmically irresistible. Fusion didn't just change jazz, it changed the world's understanding of music itself. Suddenly, boundaries between genres seemed arbitrary. Jazz had become a universal language. Today's jazz scene is more diverse and innovative than ever before. The avant-garde movement of the 1960s and 70s shattered any remaining conventions, giving contemporary musicians complete freedom to explore. Modern jazz artists like Robert Glasper and Esperanza Spalding aren't just preserving tradition, they're revolutionizing it. They're incorporating elements from hip-hop, neo-soul, and electronic music, creating sounds that speak to new generations. Jazz education has democratized the genre in ways earlier generations couldn't imagine. Students from every background are learning not just to play jazz, but to speak its language fluently and add their own dialects. From the Blue Note in New York to jazz festivals in Montreux, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo, jazz continues to evolve as a global phenomenon. Each culture that embraces jazz transforms it and is transformed by it. From the syncopated rhythms of ragtime to the experimental sounds of fusion, jazz has never stopped evolving. It's a living art form that reflects our changing world while honoring its roots. Jazz teaches us that innovation and tradition aren't opposites, they're dance partners. Each generation of musicians has built upon the foundations laid by those who came before, while fearlessly pushing into new territory. The evolution of jazz isn't just the story of a musical genre. It's the story of American creativity, cultural fusion, and the endless human capacity for reinvention. And the best part? This story is still being written.